The Rogan Report Podcast. Check it out.
All things Joe Rogan by day. Rogan Report Podcast by night. All day. All night. Half hour to an hour-ish episodes once a week.
The Rogan Report Podcast.
All right, Shane, welcome to episode 30.
Yeah,
Rogan
man.
Report.
Good to be back. It's been
Here we
almost, 2 weeks just about since our last record?
I guess.
I think 2 weeks on the dot, actually.
Seems like, the summertime gets harder to record every single week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about it earlier, actually. I think for me, scheduling-wise, it'd be perfect to do like a season from January to March and then...
take a break.
Yeah,
and then
take a
come
break
back.
and then wait and then do like a season every year.
Yeah.
But of course, this show, since we're following a prolific, entertainer / podcaster, we'd miss so much.
We would.
Yeah,
But I
so-
think the way we're formatting it now, it's kind of okay to dip out and dip back in a little bit.
That's true.
Because
Yeah,
we're not exactly running down the whole week anymore.
doesn't have to be every single week,
Yeah.
And
I think as long as we get two, like preferably 3 a month, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably plenty. That gives us like a good 10-day stretch between episodes.
Okay.
So,
well, let's start with right off the topic.
absolute.
Right off the topic.
Let's do it.
I can't get the song "Green Sleeves" out of my head.
Green sleeves.
I don't know what the fuck. My girlfriend says it's the same as "What Child Is This," but I whistle it everywhere I go for some reason. I'll see if I can do it here.
Mm.
Like
That's called green sleeves?
that's Green Sleeves.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I did know the tune, that's for sure.
Old English folk song, super famous. It's the like when you buy a cheap Casio keyboard and they have all the demo songs. Often
Oh, yeah.
Green Sleeves is one of the demo songs.
Nice.
You think about maybe it being played on like a harp or like a harpsichord or
Yeah, that's
some-
like one of
a
those
lute maybe.
like archetypal tunes.
Yeah,
Almost.
it really
I
is.
feel like it's been around my whole life.
And I don't know, maybe because Game of Thrones is back on again now, and it's
Oh,
sort
shit.
of maybe they featured little hints of it in there.
I feel like they do.
I'm not sure.
That's kind of trippy because that thing actually did recall Game of Thrones a little bit. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Did
it's
I
from,
hear that
like
there?
from that old, kind of medieval English time period, which obviously Game of Thrones is
Right.
based loosely on that plus dragons.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's one thing. Do you have anything for right off the top pick?
I was kind of thinking maybe I'd let you go into your topic and I'll do like a finisher kind of
Oh,
thing.
okay.
I've got a
Oh,
couple
sure.
of topics.
That's good. Well, of course, we also have to follow up on the last right off the top pick. We were going into election days, and
sure.
of course, I was cheering pretty hard for the NDP to win.
Yeah,
And we kind of got into a situation where we won the battle but lost the war.
kind
Is
of.
how I say it.
I mean, here in Edmonton, it's overwhelmingly NDP.
Yeah. Yeah, I think every riding they won,
Yeah.
and then one riding was conceded. Even though they were winning, they conceded it to a UCP. I'm not sure if they just those so that we could have some feedback in Edmonton.
Maybe.
I'm not, because you don't want, the thing about me, like I want NDP to be in power,
Yeah.
but I also like the fact that there is an opposition and a strong opposition
Mhm.
and a conservative opposition to like kind of, because who knows, there, like I've said before, there is a point where taxes are too high that it discourages
Right.
business growth.
New
and
growth,
We
yeah.
don't want that. I don't think that 12%, since it was already the lowest tax in Canada, I don't think that 12% was unreasonable.
Right.
I feel like we're going to miss that 4%. Obviously the giant businesses. And when you look at, because most of Alberta, all the rural areas, I was thinking those are all farms mostly, right?
Yeah.
And every farm is in itself its own little corporation.
Right.
So they're probably like, yeah, fucking amped. I only have to pay 8% instead of 12%.
For sure. For the rural people, definitely, yeah.
So I can understand those guys. It's in their interest to vote. And they're also not taking, like, they don't necessarily get to take advantage of a lot of the social programs and things that would be enacted because they're really more urban
Mhm.
area.
You kind of have to be here to get them.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I can understand those people. I don't understand people in Edmonton voting against their own interests and saying, I guess there's a bit of racism behind it. They
Certainly.
don't want immigrants. They don't want gay people. That could be a factor. So maybe they're voting in their interests in that way. But for the general person in Edmonton who's like, big businesses shouldn't have to pay 12%.
Right.
I'm like,
It's
you're
like-
not a big business, dude.
Yeah, like
You're making less money than I make.
Yeah.
Like, it's unreal that those people are like, we don't want to go into debt. Our kids are going to have to pay off the debt. And I'm like, no, they're just now it is not going to be any money left over to pay for things that your kids could have taken advantage of, like i.e. schools and healthcare and
Right.
fucking the environment. Like, it's just unreal to me.
Yeah, it's
And-
mind blowing.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of those conversations lately. I had a friend of mine, he posted a thing on Facebook that was saying, like, yeah, because I voted conservative, that means I'm a neo-Nazi, racist, homophobic piece of shit. Yeah, good one, left. And saying, trying to say that obviously not everyone who votes conservative is that.
Yeah,
You're
right.
not that just because you vote conservative. Maybe you are a farmer and you want to pay 8% instead of
For sure.
12%. Maybe you are totally fine with having immigrants come to Alberta.
Yeah.
So that is true. However, my my counter to that, of course, is as has been said on Rogan. I think that's where I first heard this expression. Not all conservative voters are racists,
Yeah,
but all racists are conservative voters.
it definitely.
And so what is that like, to me, what does that tell you? Like, that's and there's a lot I've seen on the left where people are saying, like, trying to disassociate themselves. Like, hey, all right, you voted right wing. Now take yourself off my friends list. I no longer want to talk to you.
Right.
I've seen quite a bit of that. And I see that
Yeah.
more on the left than I see it on the
Certainly.
right.
Certainly.
And like people putting themselves into these echo chambers. And I don't think that that's healthy either. Like I said, I think we should have an opposition government that should
For
be
sure.
bringing up. I wish the majority government was NDP because I think they were doing the right things for Alberta. I think they did a great job.
So
I'm
there's
really
all this
happy.
talk that now that we do have a UCP government, that it's going to kind of throw roadblocks in front of a lot of things that Trudeau tries to put through.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
I mean, I don't know a whole ton about it, but that's the news I'm seeing a whole bunch of. That Trudeau's in for a tough go, basically. Is what I keep reading,
yeah, and the debates. As I mentioned in the last
as opposed to the go he's been having.
Yeah.
Fuck.
oh, jeez.
I mean, from the trends, it sure doesn't look like he's going to get voted in again.
No.
And what I see is it's a great big pendulum. We're going left and right, left and right,
Yeah.
left and right. America too. It's the same thing.
True. It's going to be crazy though if like Andrew Scheer gets voted in
Mhm.
as our prime minister. Then we have conservative federal and provincial, and that's when they can really start fucking some shit up.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Goodbye, environment. Sorry, 100 years from now.
Do you think that there will be any attempt to turn back the legalization, or do you think that's just,
No, I think legalization
that would be too
it's-
much of a mess at this point?
Yeah, and it's too good for big business.
Yeah.
There's too many opportunities. Like you have giant corporations. That would really, really be hard on the economy.
Yeah.
To do that.
But you
So,
can hear a lot of conservative voices in Canada and America talking about that,
Yeah.
turning it back to the way it was.
Yeah, there's people that are opposed. I don't think that it'll ever happen. But
You know, I was watching a show with Stacy last night. Well, she was watching like one of these gridlock lockdown shows, like
oh yeah,
of prisons,
prisons.
and showing how many people in there are only in there for marijuana. It's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
To think of lives being ruined,
Yeah, I remember hearing
mothers being
nonviolent
taken
crimes.
from children,
It was like 60 to 70% of the inmates are in for nonviolent crimes.
Right.
You know, mostly of those nonviolence, mostly drug related.
yeah, and scale it back. And I mean, there's huge racism. All you have to do is look at the prison system to know
Yeah.
it, and it's gross.
Yeah.
It makes me kind of sick to
I
watch.
wonder, because obviously that is largely like I'm pretty familiar with the stats in the American prison systems, but I wonder in the Canadian prison systems how much is racism a factor here? What are the percentages? Like, black people are sort of to America as Native or Aboriginal people are to Canada,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
We do have some black people here as well, but like it really.
I think
just-
the
there's not-
racism here is towards Native people
much more
for sure,
so,
most heavily.
right? Because there might be a little bit towards black people as well, but it's just there's barely any.
And I would say more than black people, I'd say there's racism towards maybe some Middle Eastern
yeah,
cultures for
totally.
sure, based on what's happening.
Yeah, that's a factor, and I'm sure that's a factor in the States as well. But again, it's probably just because there are so many more black people and so many more Mexicans in the States that
It's a bigger melting
they just,
pot
they
down
just
there.
dwarf the. Do you think so?
I mean, I don't know.
Culturally, we're kind of known for more. I
Yeah.
feel like Canada's known more for its multiculturalism than the States are.
Known for it, but
Of course,
but
though.
actual numbers are. I would think there's a lot more immigrants in America than Canada.
Yeah, there has
That's
to
the
be.
land of freedom, right? That's
Yeah.
where everyone flocks to.
Yeah, I
Or
wonder
did.
though, because obviously there's a much greater amount of Mexican immigration into the States.
For
I
sure,
wonder
yeah.
if there's a greater, like, either per capita, because probably not by volume, but like per capita, if there's a greater amount of like Middle Eastern immigrants to Canada than there is to the States.
I bet it's greater. I would think it's
Feels like
greater,
it to me,
especially in
too.
the last 4 years.
And like India as well, and like Asian. I wonder about not to be racist, but the Asians sure do love their Vancouver.
It's real.
I wonder if there's a spot in the States that is kind of more Asian, like a Vancouver equivalent.
I would think that the coastline, for
Like
sure,
Seattle?
the West Coast, yeah. I mean,
Seattle has
Seattle, I know probably LA has quite a lot too, I would think. I mean, there's 30 million people in LA, so there's quite a lot of everything there. But I don't, statistic-wise, I'm not sure.
Siri, where is the largest Asian population in the United States?
Everybody's phone just started looking that up too when you did that.
Well, good. You guys can follow along with me here. Demographics of Asian Americans. This seems like about a 3-hour read. Okay.
Not podcast friendly.
No, they do show a map, and California actually seems to be the heaviest, and
The hub.
and 10% is in like the darkest color here, which is California, greater than 10%, and then the second darkest color is like sub 10%, sub 5%, and it looks like Seattle's about the 5, Nevada's in the 5 range. Where do you think would be the least amount of Asian?
Utah.
Less than 1.5%.
Utah or Idaho.
Yeah, Utah, Idaho, basically the whole Midwest.
Nice. Yeah.
You can see that top four states.
A blank zone of Asian
North Dakota,
people.
South Dakota, I think maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not really good at, you know what? As much as like talk shows, they go out and they'll like interview Americans about Canadian stuff and make Americans look stupid because they don't know that we have a prime minister instead of a president. I don't know that much about America. I mean, I probably know more than the average American knows about Canada, but like when I try to look at the map of the states and to go and just name all of them, I feel like I would get about 20
There's some ones you don't think about.
20 to 25 right here, and then like all this whole middle area, I'm like, what the fuck? One of those is a Dakota.
You kind of draw a big circle. That's Utah, Idaho, and what are the other ones?
Exactly. So, I apologize for that, America. I apologize.
Yeah. To be fair, there's only like 13 of our pieces, and there's like 50 some of your
it's
pieces.
a lot. That's true. But Canadians do like to be a little smug about like how much we know about the states.
That's true.
And versus how much the states know about Canada.
Maybe a little smug in general, huh?
In general, yeah.
We're super nice, but we're also smug.
Yeah,
we
super
know we're
nice,
nice.
but as soon as you walk away, we're like, oh, fucking.
We
that
definitely know we're
I'm
better.
a lot nicer than that guy. What a rude American. And the funny thing too, like obviously Americans get the loud and rude like stereotype applied to them.
Yeah.
But all the times I've been to America, there couldn't be nicer. Really, I don't feel like even when Joe talks about how there's 30% less douchebags as soon as you go into Canada. Like I haven't felt like when I've been around the States that there's been 30% more douchebags. I'm just like, yeah, everyone seems pretty cool. I mean, obviously when we see news footage and because of just the way the media in general kind of portrays some Americans, and maybe more so in the South, like the places I've been, maybe a little less so because I've been mostly in the North and whatnot, and Hawaii.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. What do you think?
I think there's probably a good percentage of douchebag here too. I mean, you don't have to look far.
Yeah, that's true.
Just look around. You see one. I mean, I feel like especially in Alberta.
Yeah.
There's plenty of douchebags here.
That's my feeling
fucking
as well.
White Oakley wearing fucking jacked up truck driving douchebags.
Yeah, UCP voting. Did you see the meme? It was like Alberta as the Oilers logo and the orange drop in the middle where the Oilers, Oilers
so
blue.
legit.
That's at Edmonton, and then the rest of the blue logo surrounding the orange oil drop is all the UCP.
So what do you think makes Calgary so much different from Edmonton?
Well,
so different.
More head offices there. Yeah. So, the more wealthy people become, typically the more conservative.
Yeah.
Which makes sense to a degree.
And it's kind of funny. You can even see that schism in your own friends and family. generally the more wealthy people that are, more well-to-do generally are more UCP leaning.
Yeah.
You can see that. Like, there's a clear line.
That's yeah, for sure. I wonder, like, there's a lot of my family that I haven't really talked about politics with.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some that I have. The people that I have talked about it with are people that I guess are maybe more in my sort of circles, so they just tend to be more NDP and more left-leaning, if not NDP supporting. But the people that I like just don't know as well in my family, I would guess, probably some of them are conservative voting.
And you know what? You end up talking to the people that you agree with because you don't want to fight with the people you don't agree with, right?
Yeah.
Especially when they're family. You don't want to make hard feelings.
Yeah, true.
And they're going to get made.
We want to get
people feel strongly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Well, it's like that that saying. There's another saying that I heard on Rogan, actually. Show me a young man who isn't a liberal, and I'll show you a man with no heart. Show me an old man who's not a conservative, and I'll show you a man with no brain. And then my addition to that would be, show me a middle-aged man who isn't confused. Just show me one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I feel like everyone my age is all like, fuck, I don't know. I see a points there. I see some points there.
Right.
I don't know what the right thing is. It's so complex and so complicated. And
we're also kind of right in the middle of two generations, right?
That's true, yeah.
Like, we're not really millennials, but we're
they,
definitely not the ones before us.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we?
Not millennials, not Gen X.
Zennials, I think, is what we are.
Zennials is what they've been saying, but that's sort of a made-up, like, it's not really a generation.
I prefer elder millennial, like Elijah Schlesinger says.
Okay.
Because I'm right on the edge. I think it's 1980. I've heard differing numbers. I thought it was 1980 for a while, and then other people have said like 82 or something.
Yeah.
Is when the millennials started.
I'm 80 as well, so I'm right on that edge.
Yeah, like elder or even king. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't say it, but
wise millennials. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you give me, of the last Rogans, what's kind of been a topic that stood out for you? What do you want to talk about today?
I'm super big fan of Russell Brand, so I went with Russell Brand.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember talking for years, like, oh my God, when the fuck is Russell Brand going to go on Joe Rogan? They're like perfect for each other.
Yeah.
And then finally this year he did, and now he has twice, which is great.
Yeah.
Either it was the end of last year or this year. I think it was this year, though, the first time.
I do tend to agree with a lot of what he says, and I like listening to him talk about things.
Yeah.
One of my hero songwriters, my favorite songwriters in the world, Scott Cook, has a lyric where he slams Russell Brand in one of his songs. But I'm not sure that Scott really knows has listened to all of Russell's JRE appearances.
Yeah.
He might not feel that same way.
If you're thinking Russell the actor compared to Russell the person,
yeah,
two different
or maybe
guys.
Russell like circa 20 years ago when he's like getting super wasted and fucking girls as much as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, the one thing I noticed with Russell Brand in that episode is like there's a point where he's trying to ask Joe a question, and the question takes about 6 minutes to ask, and he's like, he just keeps. I'm like, okay, you've asked like 9 questions.
He
like,
extrapolates
sort
so
of
hard.
relating. Yeah, he just keeps on like adding little things to the question and sort of explaining the question, and then also sort of explaining his answers to the questions while he's asking Joe the question. And then I listen for Joe's answer, and it's like kind of doesn't even answer. He's like Joe like sort of just agrees with him. It doesn't really answer the question.
That's kind of he doesn't really. He's so fucking logical, and to me logical anyways. There's no like disagreement to have with him really, but yeah, I went into him a little bit.
Okay.
He's hosting a podcast called Under the Skin right now,
Right.
And just like the title says, that's what it is basically. He'll have on
Mostly
guys he agrees with, but also guys he
capillaries. does
not.
Oh yeah.
So you'll see some very clashing opinions on on that show, and that's on YouTube.
Like
and
Sam Harris, I think he had mentioned that he'd had a conversation with Sam Harris, and he doesn't agree with Sam on a lot of things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, he's a recovered drug and sex addict.
Sure.
Talks quite a bit about it. He also does The Trues, which is basically a play on. Well,
The Trues?
No, like he does like a news show, like True News, but he calls it The Trues.
Not TREWS, the Canadian indie rock band.
Well, that's how it's spelled too. So that muddies the waters further, I guess.
I wonder if the Trues, Canadian indie rock band, took that from. Like, I'd have no idea how they got their name. Maybe that name comes from however Russell got the name for this podcast.
They're the same concept, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Seems like likely enough.
Probably. It's probably Russell Brand in character doing a Canadian accent.
So Russell's kind of your quintessential spiritual guru.
Yeah.
Kind of has all the ticks, all the boxes ticked.
Which does make people hate him. It makes
Yeah.
me hate him just a little bit.
He's got the Moses-esque beard. He's got the hair, the Jesus hair. You know, he had a special like a couple years ago where he like compares himself to all these like Jesus and Gandhi.
Right.
It was actually an amazing special because it really wrapped up like everything into
Wonder-
one big ball of Russell.
I don't think I watched that.
I can't remember what the fuck it's called. Oh, the Messiah, I think it's called the Messiah, and he's the Messiah.
Makes sense.
Of course.
Yeah.
Great show though, or
Okay.
great special. So he's into jujitsu now as well.
That's cool.
Which is super like everyone's into it now, right?
It's
I feel
the
like
in-
that's Joe's fault
Yeah.
directly.
Joe's a giant part of it. I mean, just obviously the UFC in general has brought it.
But Joe's brought it so mainstream. Like his show has brought MMA mainstream, I think, in a big way.
Yeah. Joe
And
helped
Joe
bring
jujitsu,
the
and maybe
UFC.
even comedy. I think he may even have brought comedy back around to be a lot more popular than it was, which is crazy.
You're
to me.
putting a lot of weight on
Joe,
his-
it's
on his
all on
shoulders
you,
here,
Joe. For sure, be the president,
But, yeah,
which he never will. He said he won't.
he's a big part of it for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it feels that way maybe to us because he's such a big part of like of our social sphere. Whereas there's still I think millions of people out there that don't even know who Joe
that's
Rogan
true.
is.
Yeah.
And people that are maybe into the like things that we're into, like into the UFC, and barely know. They know he does commentary maybe, but they just barely are aware of his contributions to the overall.
This is true. I run into it with my family quite a bit.
Yeah,
I'll
there
just
you go.
start talking about something and expect everyone around me to know what I'm talking about. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my brother-in-law into podcasts, and now he'll text me, and now he's just finally got to the point where he now has too many podcasts on his plate that he can't
that always
keep up
happens.
to listening to them all in the same week.
Oh,
It is tough. And he's super into Bert Kreischer's show,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh yeah, Bert was on my podcast.
I always
like,
forget about Bert's show because it's good too.
Yeah,
They're all
of
good.
course it is. Yeah,
I
and he
mean-
was like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Bert was on your show, and now he's all like jealous.
I mean, that's pretty amazing.
It
And
was.
Ari Shaffir too, man.
Yeah,
Those are both heavy fucking
yeah.
hitters.
Yeah, a couple big names from Rogan's world, and a lot of other heavy hitters too. That from, not so much from the Rogan universe, but just from Canadian media and bands.
Right. So some notable things about Russell. Showed up in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and his character Aldous Snow first appears in that movie. If you've ever seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall, that's a fun ass movie,
For sure, it is.
and that's our first kind of taste of Russell Brand.
Maybe a
too.
touch long, but it was he like the sex man? Was he cheating with Sarah Marshall? Was he with her or something?
Yeah, well, Jason Segel's the main character of that.
Yeah, and he's getting broken up with or something, or is
But
Sarah?
he
Sarah
gets
Marshall's-
dumped in with his dick out, which is fucking crazy. That's what's definitely memorable of that movie. You see his dick a few times in that
Okay,
movie. But,
yeah, I kind of don't remember.
and that's one
the
of those
movie
movies where
that
dicks
well.
didn't really show up. Like, like early 2000s, there wasn't a lot of dicks in movies.
Yeah.
Like Any Given Sunday was kind of like the one that had the dicks, Now it's not that weird anymore. You see dicks all over.
You think Game of Thrones has popularized dicks? Because
There's been dicks there too,
a lot
yeah.
of dicks in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it doesn't seem like such a big deal.
No,
Dicks are funny.
yeah, they are funny. There's there's not many flattering ways to have it.
Yeah.
If you're walking around with a boner, you're definitely a weirdo.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're looking a little lackluster.
I remember hearing, I think it was Kevin Smith. Somebody, maybe not Kevin Smith, but somebody was saying that there isn't any person in the world that I wouldn't rather see naked versus clothed. Like, just people are more interesting to, like, holy fuck, look at that person, they're naked. Anytime there's a naked person, it's like, oh my God, look, you want to look at them. You're not, a clothed person. You're like, whatever, there's a clothed person.
Yeah.
But a naked person,
You can almost never tell what a person looks like naked either.
yeah.
I'm almost always shocked by what I see when
Yeah,
someone's naked.
Totally.
Like,
Totally.
oh, that's what you look like? And it's not usually bad, but
No,
it's definitely always different than what you picture.
for sure.
So he shows up again in Get Him to the Greek.
And it's the same character? The
Same character. Jonah Hill's in both movies, but in the
Oh,
first
yeah?
one he plays a stalkery weirdo, and in the second one he kind of plays a music producer.
Right.
Conservative, just broke up with his girlfriend.
I
music
have seen
producer.
Get Him to the Greek as well.
That's a funny motherfucker.
Yeah, I thought, both those movies were funny.
Oh yeah, I mean, just filled with cameos.
Totally.
I think both are actually got a number of
Probably
cameos
heavy.
in them. Yeah, that's Russell Brand for
That's
you.
about it.
I mean, yeah, check him out. He's got so much to say spiritually, and I like his opinions a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with him as well.
Yeah.
Although there's just like, an air of, I guess, smugness that maybe comes across. I'm just like, I have a little bit of an aversion. Or maybe it's just because Scott said he didn't like him in a song once. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I get the smugness thing, and a lot of people actually that whole British like superiority voice
Mhm.
type thing that a lot of people feel. I think with British people,
That could be a factor.
I actually love it.
Yeah.
I love to hear British accents and sarcasm and Britishness, and
Yeah.
love it all.
I love it too. Like I'm a big Monty Python fan, and the guy who I picked to talk about, Graham Hancock, also British, and he's got one of the smoothest voices.
Oh,
I
for
could
sure.
listen to Graham Hancock talk for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
It's certainly one of my favorite guests to ever come on. The only kind of what were we calling that before? We did the recap of the first time Graham Hancock was
Oh, that's
on.
right. We did. That was
Um,
like a way back.
It was like a
episode.
classic. We did a classic recap and went back and kind of reviewed Graham Hancock's first appearance, and he was on with Duncan Trussell and talking about all the things that he's still talking about:
Yeah.
ancient civilizations, how we're a civilization with amnesia.
Yeah.
And his thoughts are that there was a giant cataclysmic event that happened somewhere around 12,500 years ago,
Yeah.
and that wiped out most of civilization, and that we had to rebuild from there.
Mhm.
And that there was a fairly advanced civilization that were able to construct all these monoliths that we now are seeing more and more and more of, and more evidence of this.
Yeah.
And we don't even know how they did it. And in the episode, they talked potentially mind control was a factor. Maybe they were able to somehow harness telekinetic abilities, because they have these giant 70-ton stone pillars that are in the pyramid that would have had to been moved in ways that they don't know how they moved them.
Right. So it's speculative. A lot of what he talks about in that regard.
Yeah.
But he talks a lot about how archaeology kind of poo-poos him.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about Graham is we've actually seen some of his theories be proven not correct necessarily, but proven to be not wrong
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. The more and more evidence comes out, the more and more it shows that that our civilization goes back further.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I hadn't heard of that most recently came out is evidence of human beings, not advanced human beings or advanced civilizations,
Mhm.
but evidence of just that human beings were in what is now San Diego as much as 120 to 140,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just fascinating, because that's so old. And what they found was I believe they were building roads. They're like going and excavating to build roads. And there was an archaeologist on site, and he recognized, like, oh shit, hold on, this is some mastodon bones. And they started looking at them, and the bones have been cracked open, and the marrow removed.
Right.
And then they were set up like in a way that was kind of unnatural. Like one was facing down, one was facing up, and then I think one of the like tusks was set and like stuck into what would have been then the ground in a
Right.
way that was like, yeah, just completely not natural to how you would normally find a mastodon having been killed. So, and the way they would have been stone tools, so they would have been acting very much how Stone Age human beings would have been acting, but how, if we think that the cradle of civilization in Africa and people kind of expanded through there, and they have theories about how people moved around the earth,
Right.
and the Americas are kind of the last. They think that they came through Asia down the Bering Land Strait when that was connected, and then so the South America would be sort of the last place that you'd find humans.
Yeah.
But if there was an ancient civilization and they were able to travel and navigate with boats, then we would see people potentially being in those areas a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what it is. Human beings came from Africa with some advanced civilization and came over to, and he's saying in the Amazon, there was giant cities as big as London was in those days, 50,000,
Yeah.
100,000 people, and many of these cities in Africa, and that they had a technology for developing earth where they could make, because the Amazon, the earth there is not good. It's not good for growing like vegetables and growing things that have sustenance to them. It's good for growing, I guess, trees.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that there were these giant cities and there was a a Spanish explorer that had tales of them, and he came back, and then 100 years later, he went back to telling everyone, hey, there's these amazing cities in the Amazon. 100 years later, more explorers go, and they don't see any of them. And one of the things that they think could have happened is that the Spanish, the first time they went there, brought smallpox, and the natives to Amazon
Just wiped everything out.
Yeah, they had no immunity whatsoever, and just dead. And as soon as everyone died, then as what happens to the world takes back over,
especially in the Amazon.
So
they take that shit back.
Everything got grown over, but now that they're clearing the Amazon and cutting down a lot of those trees, they're finding evidence of these cities.
Yeah,
and that's also so fascinating and so exciting.
To my mind, it's not even out of the question that we've had several advanced civilizations rise and fall.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what's interesting to me is talk of these other almost human creatures that evolved up, like the denizens they were talking about.
Yeah.
And then there's also these hobbit people.
Florensis?
To me, it's almost like going into a fantasy world. Like the Neanderthals are the orcs, these denizens are maybe the elves, and the hobbit people are the hobbits. You know what I mean, though?
Totally, no.
And they all definitely live together, is what we're finding out.
Yeah, and interbred. We can see these denizen DNA in human beings today, and less so than Neanderthal.
Yeah.
But certainly it is there.
But you would think there was epic battles, just like orcs and humans.
Yeah.
Neanderthals versus the skinnies.
It is so
You know what I mean?
so interesting. I wonder if there was ever an advanced civilization before the dinosaurs.
Yeah, like I wonder that too.
Advanced civilization of some kind that just got completely wiped out, then the dinosaurs, then human beings after that.
I'm still not sure aliens didn't fuck with our DNA, honestly.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty different. We're pretty different.
Yeah, but dinosaurs are pretty different.
For sure.
Think about how, like that.
A bacteria. Think how different a amoeba is from us, but yet we all go back to the same.
I think there's almost an infinite number of ways that life can evolve.
Yeah.
And, this is certainly a very, very strange one. But I think the dinosaurs are really no less strange. I bet you if we were able to, if we were able to live in that time and see it, I bet you they're even stranger than we give them credit for.
For sure. Yeah.
And then, who knows before that? Who knows about on other worlds if things, I'm definitely of the opinion that life must exist elsewhere, and that either it just isn't possible to develop technologies to travel beyond the worlds because the space is too
or
great,
it hasn't been possible yet
laws of
in
physics,
any universe or
it could be just
galaxy.
so hard that no one has been able to really wrap their heads around doing that.
But then there's the whole time conundrum, right? Time exists here, but as soon as you travel off Earth, it's different. Time's happening differently. You know what I'm saying?
Is it?
Like in the way that you look at a star, you're looking at a star millions of years ago. You're not looking at it now.
That's true, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like you leave the Earth, what happens? Can you go back? Like if you're gone from Earth for so long and you go back, I wonder if like thousands of years pass.
I think you can only travel forwards in time.
Yeah.
But you could travel, we could travel to the future if we could develop some kind of craft that could approach the speed of light. Because the closer you approach the speed of light, the slower time moves for you, for the whatever's moving at that speed. And so for light, which moves at the speed of light, it moves much slower.
Which, as far as we understand,
or much faster, I guess, than we're moving.
It's impossible for us to do that because that would be a breakdown of our molecules.
Yeah, our time and the laws of our physics. I guess it's the same laws of physics that apply to light as us, but yeah, light moves so much faster than us that, yeah.
But then you get into like quantum realms where fucking protons and molecules can exist in more than one place at the same time. That's you can go so far down this rabbit hole.
The rules do seem to change somewhat.
Yeah.
But they don't actually, I think they find that they don't actually change. They're just that different equations kind of apply, and different equations explain why those things happen. I'm going to see Brian Cox in like 2 weeks, and I'm fucking amped about it. His Cosmos show where he talks about the universe, and maybe I'll have a better understanding of it coming on from that. But
yeah, man. I'll be looking forward to a recap.
yeah. That might be my right off the topic for that week.
For sure.
Be a recap of Brian Cox's show.
Yeah. Did you catch UFC 236?
I did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm spacing.
Pretty outstanding show, actually.
Yeah, I'm spacing kind of on that wasn't Holloway and
Holloway Poirier.
That was Holloway Poirier. Okay,
and Poirier put on a master class.
Adesanya. You weren't here? No. This was
No, I was sick that weekend because I ended up missing your golf thing too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, you were supposed to
I was
come
actually
out.
jacked for the golf thing.
We watched 236 actually right after the Masters because I had it recorded.
Yeah.
And I managed to stay spoiler free.
Nice.
And so I watched the Masters, which started early.
Mhm.
So we actually only ended up watching the Masters for like an hour and a half, and then it wrapped. We just kind of watched the last hour and a half of it, and then which was amazing. Fucking Tiger Woods won. Biggest comeback in history, and as Joe says, he loves people that put on great performances. But what's even better is to see someone fuck everything up and ruin their life
then get it
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what's fucked up? I saw a meme. It showed Tiger under Obama, and Tiger under Trump.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, Trump's fixing everything.
That's so funny. Yeah, there was a meme for the Calgary Flames under the NDP.
Right.
They were 50 wins, 20 losses, and then under UCP, 0 wins, 4 losses, out of the playoffs.
Man, if nothing else, all this election shit brings the funniest fucking memes.
Yeah, good memes for sure.
Yeah.
And like Joe says, that's the way we can change people's minds is by making them laugh about things
Definitely.
that are true.
Yeah.
And like, okay. Although I don't think the NDP had any hand in the Flames winning, nor did the UCP have any hand in the Flames losing.
Other than a boost of confidence, perhaps.
Yeah, it could be. And maybe the UCP win, the Flames were all depressed about it because maybe they're all NDP supporters.
Yeah, maybe.
And so they just didn't have the heart to play anymore. I don't know. That's just one of the many possibilities.
Yeah.
Anyways, UFC.
So fucking Poirier.
Yeah, Poirier. I lost money.
He's way stronger than Holloway, clearly, right?
He's bigger for sure.
Just his hits are harder.
His hits, he hit him harder.
Or do you think that Holloway just needs some time to swell up to that weight division a little bit? Maybe.
Tough fight to take on first right out of the gates.
Yeah.
But an exciting fight, and we didn't know.
But also watching him go down to 145 is brutal, man. He's too big for 45.
Yeah.
So,
he might need just. I wonder if it would have been better because the longer time you take without like fighting at that high level, the more you lose sort of that comfort in that. Ring rust is a real thing.
Oh yeah.
So if he takes a year away to get to that size, he's then going to be not as like sharp and in practice.
Like we've seen with Connor, man.
Yeah.
A few years away is seriously detrimental.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the best thing is. Probably the best thing is to work on trying to get that size up while
strength and conditioning.
Yeah, but while
man,
still
his
fighting.
skills there.
Because I don't think he should take time off to.
I think he outstruck Poirier. Like he landed more hits.
But they were all just
just touches. Like, but that's how he always does it, right? It just didn't work on Poirier.
Yeah, of course, Poirier's a tough bastard.
Yeah. And then there was Adesanya Gastelum, another great fight.
Great fight. That's
Fucking,
the only.
You
the
could have
only
ended
bet
that fight
I made,
in the end, actually.
that I won on was when I picked Adesanya to win there.
But also Gastelum did a fucking amazing
that first
job,
round,
man.
I was like, holy shit.
I thought
Gastelum's
he had him.
going to win.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck, I'm going to lose every single dollar I bet.
You always hope when you match two styles together that it's going to be a show like that. And that's like exactly what we wanted.
Yeah. I just can't believe that went to a decision. That might be the best fight I've ever seen go to a decision.
Totally.
Of all the decision
but
fights.
You could have almost ended it at that last round there. Gastelum was
getting beat up for sure.
Yeah.
But he wasn't out. And then how about Khalil Roundtree?
Dude.
Eric Andrews.
Where the fuck did Roundtree come from?
Oh, my God. He came from Thailand, obviously.
Because, man, he was a boring dude to watch before.
Yeah, I remember seeing him that's like the only season of The Ultimate Fighter that I actually watched, I think, the whole season of.
Yeah.
He was on it, and he didn't win. He was like kind of just a mid-level guy on there. And, sort of, good fighter.
Good fighter, but not great, right?
Not great. And then, goes to Thailand and learns like the Thai boxing style. And all of a sudden he can throw leg kicks better than anyone else in the UFC. Like the way, how fast, I was trying to count them, like, and trying to watch, okay, he's throwing, okay, it's done. And like trying to,
and
less
Anders
than a second.
had no idea
no
what to do about
telegraphing.
that shit.
No, he was just like, oh, well, I guess my leg,
I guess I'm getting
anymore.
my legs chopped off today. Fuck, man. Oh, I was stunned. And maybe the most pleasantly shocked I've almost ever been to see a fighter fight. Like,
yeah. But you know what else is funny? Also a decision. How does someone get beat up that badly?
Can you let the guy
for
walk
3
away?
Full rounds, and that's there. I mean, and it wasn't. It's not like there was a point where I was like, "Oh my god, they should have stopped."
No,
should have stopped this. But
you're clearly not going to win.
It just seems
you
like
can't walk anymore.
No, you could have maybe thrown in the towel on that one.
His team should have.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I don't know.
They're all fighters, man. They're not going to quit.
No, I know.
Their team has to quit. That's how it has to work.
That's just crazy.
If I was a fighter, I would tell my team, if it looks like I'm going to die, pull me out, man. Pull me out.
For
Because
sure.
I'm a tough guy. I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
You know?
I would have stopped after the first leg kick. I'm like, oh, hold on.
Oh,
no,
that's going
stop,
to hurt tomorrow.
Stop.
I think it's broke.
Where's the white towel?
Medic.
Yeah. Anyways, then the next one, Dwight Grant versus Alan Joban.
Yep. Sad one for me. I actually like Joe Ban, so I was hoping for him to get a win, but
It would have been. I don't really have strong feelings either way. Also, another decision fight.
no.
It was like every fight there was a decision except for the first one, which was Nikita Krylov versus OSP,
Yeah.
Oven St. Preux. And yeah, that was a submission win.
Tough go for OSB, man. He's got a salty record.
Yeah.
I think he might be nearing a cut, to be honest. Because what else are you going to do with him at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, you've given him some pretty big shots.
Yeah. The highest level he fought.
John Jones.
John Jones.
And actually put in a pretty good showing. I mean, he lost,
But that was John Jones was fighting really carefully and like
That
was
was-
not fighting like the John Jones that we know.
that's the only clean fight we actually have of John Jones.
right.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, probably that one we'll go back and find out he had EPO or something in him too. But
Something. That's it. Yeah.
because that's what they're doing now. They're going back and testing old fights.
Well, are they though?
that's what I
'cause
hear.
I
Or
don't
well,
know.
I guess you
they
hear it
they
too,
did
but-
talk. Yeah, they did talk about it, and
Yeah.
Rogan jokes about test them all.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they've actually made. Like I haven't heard that they've actually made decisions to do that and announced that they are doing that. Like, how do you pick and choose what fights you're going to test? If you're going to go back, you have to go back and test them all.
Yeah.
Or I guess they could say we're just going to test all championship belt fights. But
Did we discuss Dillashaw in the last one?
yeah, I think we did.
Fuck, man, that breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's too bad.
And he came out too. Did you hear that he came out?
Yeah,
and
he did it.
admitted to it fully and said, "I'm going to take these 2 years to get better." And fucking
That's what you got to do. And yeah, it kind of makes sense that he could have just started doing it for the 145 cut. Someone could have talked him into it specifically for that cut, and he could have not done it at all before then. But then also, like, I think it was Brendan Schaub saying, like, EPO isn't like your gateway drug.
right.
You know, EPO is pretty
expensive
fucking
and it's
advanced.
expensive to test for.
Yeah, an advanced level, like high level. Like if you're
Dangerous.
doing that, you probably have experimented with some other
Right.
things. Now,
And
obviously,
what's
that's not
interesting
provable.
too is, and I gave Garbrandt a lot of hate because I was squarely in TJ's camp, but
Yeah,
Garbrandt was saying that the whole time.
was he?
This is the king of fucking steroids and cheating, basically. He
Mm.
showed us how to do it, is what he said
Mm.
before his first fight with him, which
Mm.
is interesting. I
that
mean,
is hindsight
I mean,
being 2020.
Cody Garbrandt is a douchebag, kind of.
A little bit,
But
I think.
again, maybe he's telling the truth. Just because you're a douche doesn't mean you're a liar,
Yeah,
right?
and I don't know that he is. He kind of got put into,
yeah, that's true.
and it's hard to say. People with spotlights on them, how they're acting, is that a true representation of their character and who they are? And then he got put into the situation of Dillashaw leaving. Was it American Top Team? leaving?
Alpha male,
Team
or
Alpha male.
something or
Right.
other.
Team
Yeah.
Alpha Male.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he got put into the situation of this like bad blood, long history, Dillashaw leaving Team Alpha Male, and it wasn't really his fight about it, but he had to sort
But
of
he became the new spokesman for Alpha
and
Male.
he had to obviously talk about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of it was
but
but
also, a
it-
lot of that probably was selling a fight, right?
that too. Yeah, it's funny. It makes it because it's so complex. It's like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to know what's real, what's true, what's genuine. And I feel like we have instincts for that, and so we just go by what we feel is right, and then we also have evidence, and so we go by looking at that. But even that sometimes is wrong. So it's like, man, it's a hard life.
Yeah.
Hard life for old Reubs. Just trying to get through it the best I can.
So I had this one little segment I thought I'd go over.
Okay.
I had some Game of Thrones predictions.
Oh,
Now, this
okay.
isn't spoilers. This is just predictions.
Sure. I have some predictions as well. We'll see if you align.
So for the first one, I was going to say, first of all, for the throne.
Okay.
Who do you have for the throne?
I think John will get it.
Aegon Targaryen, you mean?
Aegon
Ooh.
Targaryen.
No, we're not spoiling. That's last season. We're okay.
Yeah, I think he'll get it. Yeah, spoiler alert. If you might
actually,
because we're going to
shut-
talk about stuff.
turn it
current
off
up
now.
To,
If
yeah,
you don't
we'll
wanna
talk
hear
about
it.
stuff up to this most recent second episode that has been out.
Fair enough. Yep.
So, yeah, spoilers. Turn it off if you don't want to hear anything about up. But yeah, I think John dies. I think John gets the throne, and then I think
dies.
John dies in the last episode.
Very possible.
That's I'd say there's like an 85%, and I'd say it's 100% chance that either John or Daenerys will die.
100. I agree.
One of them for sure. 100%.
So leading into my second to die in episode 3 in the battle for Winterfell.
Yeah.
Who do you have dying in that episode?
Ooh. Well, it's probably going to be my favorite people. So, what's the dwarf's name again?
Tyrion.
Tyrion. Yeah.
Well, they've got him hiding, kind of, don't they?
Yeah, but someone's going to get in there.
You know what's
or
interesting?
somebody
They're
in
putting them in the crypts.
Yes.
And the fucking Night King is coming. He raises dead guys. Remember that little detail?
Yeah.
You're gonna put the kids in the crypts.
That's true.
They're fucked.
But can he raise dead people that he wasn't involved in killing? I'm not sure that he can.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And
That's a good.
the
That's a good
crypt
point.
also they burn all their dead. So
Not
Oh.
at Winterfell.
don't they? They're
No,
the
no, 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 no.
actual.
Ned Stark's bones are down there.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they did like the Viking thing.
No,
where
that's
they-
like that's a north of the wall thing.
Oh, okay.
The burning. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Because the
Well, and it's also a Dornish thing too, I think. But
Hmm.
yeah, into the weeds.
okay, so yeah, Tyrion from a backstabbing move from someone in the crypt
Oh, it could be.
who's on the side of Cersei somehow.
Yeah.
That
That could
maybe
be.
that bald fucking.
Well, they do have Bronn that was sent to kill both Jaime and Tyrion by
Mhm.
Cersei. So maybe he shows up next episode, and that's how Tyrion gets it.
maybe.
That would be a poignant moment for sure.
Yeah. Who else could die? Obviously Jaime and Lady what's her
Brienne.
Brienne. Lady Brienne, Knight
Mhm.
Brienne, Sir Brienne, I should
Yep.
say.
Yep.
One of those two, I think, dies
So that's
in the
I
arms.
have Brienne
of,
dying next
Brienne dying
episode,
in the
and I
arms of
think
Jaime.
for sure Brienne because she was knighted in the last episode.
Yeah, things are going a little too good for her.
Yeah. And also I actually think Theon might eat it this episode.
Yeah.
And on
could see that.
Theon, he's like quietly become one of my favorite characters.
Really?
You know that? Because it's such
he
a
was
redemption
such a piece
story.
of shit, and
Yeah.
then he had the worst.
He saved Sansa.
He had it worse than anyone
Fuck
has
yeah.
ever had it.
God, if anybody
As
paid for his
Reek.
crimes, Theon did.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like Theon.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I like how Sansa is like thrilled to see him, and you actually can see a budding
Yeah, she
relationship
hugs him.
happening there.
And he's like,
The way they like look at each other and
Emotional.
stuff.
I really liked the last episode. And everyone was saying that it was going to be an action episode, and it turned out to be anything but.
Oh, it didn't need. It needed to be what it was.
yeah,
me.
there was some good humor, some good like comic relief.
It's so realistic too. Like,
And then, yeah, I thought it was really good. Like the show the night before.
yeah,
They're all likely know that they're very likely to die.
Yeah.
And so, what do you do in those last moments? And interesting to show.
well,
it
if
that
you're
way.
Arya, you pop that cherry.
Yeah.
How uncomfortable were you for that scene?
Yeah. Well, I also watched it with my sister and my mom.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
It's like, it's,
First of all, she's 22. We looked it up right away. Me and
In
Sis-
the show?
in real life, that actress is 22.
yeah. In the show, how old is she? 18?
In the show, maybe 15.
No, I think
In the
she's
fucking book, 10.
really.
She's 10. In the
She's
book.
10 in the book at that point.
I would think she's not gonna fuck Gendry at 10 in the book,
Yeah.
but we're not at that point in the book yet. So.
I wonder. Well, because it's hard to how much time actually passes in this whole thing. Like, from the start of the show to where they are now? Is it
The timelines are
years?
vastly different in the show
versus
from the book because
Okay.
the book they're aging somewhat, but they're not aging in real time the way the actors have,
Yeah,
and they've had
so
to do it that way for the show, or else it would look really
the show.
weird.
It feels like maybe 5 years have gone past.
At least. Yeah,
So
I'd say Arya is 15 to 17 in the show, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Sansa's only like 16 still or 17
Well,
in the
Sansa
show.
was
So, and she's
older.
older. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I feel like Arya is still like actually
No.
should only be 12 to 15. Really,
I feel like Sansa was like 14 or 15 when it started, so she's probably
Yeah.
20 now.
in the book she's 12 when it starts.
Yeah.
Sansa. Yeah.
Yeah,
But again, the book is there and this is here, so they're pretty different.
they are.
So a shocking death for the season. Who do you think will die that will shock everyone? For the show, actually, not just the season. I mean, obviously Ned was the most shocking ever. but
Yeah, that was crazy because we didn't know anything about. Now it's like, oh, we know that people.
Now
are
I
gonna-
expect
Yeah.
my favorites people to die.
Shocking death. Maybe the bald advisor.
Oh, Varys.
Gay guy.
Yeah.
That keeps the wizard in
I
his.
suspect he's going to
in his
die,
box.
actually.
Yeah.
He's been going pretty hard against the Lord of Light. So Lord of Light's going to have a reckoning there.
Yeah, I don't know who is most shocking. Arya and Tyrion maybe are the most shocking ones. They're the. I don't know.
So some of the theories I've been reading is that the actual overarching theme of the show, which a lot of people aren't really seeing, is good versus evil. And it's that Lord of Light versus the Night King is
Sure.
the ultimate good versus evil. And we're kind of hung up on the ice and fire thing. Like, that's not really going to be the main point by the end of it. And I mean, think about it. These next 4 episodes are all longer than an hour. This next one I think is 74 minutes, and they're increasingly longer from that.
Yeah. I heard the last 2 are an hour and a half.
Yeah,
each.
it's like movies basically. A lot of shit's gonna happen, man. A lot. I mean, this whole next episode I expect to be all the battle for Winterfell.
Yeah.
But
It's crazy because there's so many people up there. Not everyone's gonna die. Some of them will escape.
Yeah.
Jon and Khaleesi fly away on a dragon.
yeah. Oh, by the way, that's Jon's dragon now. He's bonded to that dragon. Don't you think?
Yeah, she has a dragon. He has a dragon.
Yeah.
When he told her that he was when they were in the crypt, and he told her that he was.
Dude, I thought she was gonna leave.
She was pissed. She was like,
She might leave. Do you think that she abandons him for the battle for Winterfell?
I don't know. I don't think so.
They're hella fucked if she.
I can't see why she wouldn't be. Eventually, like initially, sure, that's a shock to find out, and maybe because she's had this trajectory that has been her whole existence moving towards getting the throne back. So I could see her being threatened by that. But in the end, I can't see how she doesn't think that that's a good thing. That to find this out, like makes it so much more perfect for.
Really, yeah,
and
especially as
they
a Targaryen.
can rule together. It's not like Jon isn't really about ruling.
No,
he's more he wants to do what's best for everyone. He wants to help. But he doesn't really, he's not. He has no.
He doesn't want to rule, but also he wants what's supposed to be. So in that regard, he may actually fight for this throne.
Yeah,
because what's supposed to be is Aegon Targaryen VI.
That's fair
on the throne.
Yeah, but he just doesn't have ambitions for it.
Right.
The way she obviously it's her biggest ambition in her entire life.
Yeah, I mean, and Targaryens wed brother to sister, so why not nephew to aunt?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Plus, if you're hot like Targaryen, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Right?
I think, make them both co-king.
Yeah.
They're like the Tenacious D song. We'll lead us to kings. They can lead. They're both kings.
Yeah.
And,
they're king and queen. Man, has there ever been a better fucking pair of fucking monarchs for Westeros?
No.
Fuck.
And she can be.
They're going to heal the land.
Yeah. I hope that's.
Man, I want a happy ending so badly.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're getting one.
That is my hope, is that they both together, king and queen, they put Cersei up on a fucking spike.
Yeah.
And, the Lord of Light defeats the Night King.
Yeah.
That's my hope. That's what I'd like.
Or maybe the Night King wins.
Everyone's
Everyone's dead in the end. That'd be interesting.
Sure. Night King wins. Turns out, pretty good dude.
Not bad. Yeah.
He's got a real good sense of humor, and he decides to let the people live. He's like, all right, I just wanted to show I could beat y'all up, but I'm gonna turn. He does a snap of his fingers, and all the dead people turn back into alive people.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was just kidding about that.
So interesting fact too about the Night King. He's a Stark.
Oh, is he?
He's an ancient Stark.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Is that in the books? Or something,
yeah,
or?
lots of there's in the books, and there's been some mentions in the show too, but it'd be hard to actually remember them.
Fair enough.
Because they come from weird places. Like Old Nan is telling stories about the Night King and how Stark was. Night King was basically a king in that castle, and he wed to like some witch or something in the woods, and it all got fucked up.
Okay.
But yeah, they're Starks basically. Starks and Night Kings are very related, and White Walkers. I think we're going to see that in the next episode.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
And I think Bran's going to be a big focus.
Yeah.
For sure next episode.
Well, obviously, they have that whole plan for him right now.
Yeah, and that's where Theon's going to die. So
yeah,
you heard it here
sense.
first on the Rogan Report.
Yeah.
The GOT report.
Yeah. Some icicle spear thrown through the heart.
Also, they best keep those dragons away. The dragons are in danger. Keep them away from the Night King.
Yeah, obviously.
But
He's got. I wonder how the dragon is going to factor into the battle. The evil dragon.
it's gonna fuck their worlds. I think. I mean, look what it did to the wall.
Yeah.
What's Winterfell gonna do?
All they need to do is just send just that dragon over in.
Yeah.
But maybe because Khaleesi's there, maybe it won't be able to.
Think
Maybe
maybe
she'll
she'll
still
still-
have some control or some
Because of the bonding.
effect. Yeah, I hope.
Maybe. I
She's
hope so.
able to-
I hope
she's
she
able to
gets it
stop it.
back. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think they need to, if they kill the Night King, then presumably everyone that's like I hope that everyone like zombies, they become regular people again.
Those are like skeletons a lot.
Yeah. Well, they grow.
They
back
probably
their
don't want to
shit.
be alive after that.
Yeah. Either they will all die and they'll be gone. They'll like disintegrate into
That's my
nothing.
guess.
Or maybe some of them will come.
Because
back.
I mean, the dragon died before he turned it into a lich.
Yeah.
Like he actually died.
And then they pulled it
They
out
showed
of
him
the lake.
die.
Yeah. I wonder if. Yeah, we're probably not getting. That was Drogon, right?
No, Drogon's the one she rides. I think it was Viserion.
Oh, Viserion. Okay.
And the one that John's riding, I can't remember its name. Or Rhaegus or Rhaegar or Rhaegar is his father.
Yeah, not Rhaegar.
But it is named after Rhaegar. It's a different name though,
Like
Rhaenys. I think
Rhaegus.
Rhaenys is its name.
Rhaenys.
Yeah.
Sounds too much like anus.
We're getting real geeky on this bitch. We're getting deep in the Game of Thrones.
Love it. Best show that's ever been made.
100%.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up there, Shane.
Sounds good, man.
Thanks for coming over.
It's been episode 30. Looking
Yeah.
forward to fucking
30
30
more.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Thanks, listeners, for listening. Appreciate you guys. Feel free to get at us through any social medias or email us at that old, what is it? The Rogan Report at gmail.com.
That's right.
I thought so.
Yep.
Yeah. Email us there. Do whatever you're going to do.
At the Rogan Report on Insta and Twitter. And then just look for the Rogan Report on Facebook to find our page.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good one.
Joe Rogan's unique perspective is teaching us all how to best live, and we will attempt to recap all of his weekly podcasts. Now show your support and download the Rogan Report. The Rogan